Hello everyone. So we're taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S4 settings. In past Galaxy models, a lot of complaint has been levelled at Samsung for basically trying to shove every single setting possible into just a single page. And the problem with that is you just couldn't work out where settings were going to be. You would find some things were in the security section which were lock screen related. It was just a complete mess. So with the Galaxy S4, they've obviously taken that criticism to heart and they've split things down. So you now have these tabs along the bottom. Previously, everything was just in one long scrolly list, which made life difficult. So now you have a Connections tab, your My Device, your Accounts, and a More option. Connections, as the name suggests, deals with anything connection related. So you'll find your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your data usage, and your ability to change your 3G networks, etc. available in there, as well as things like your roaming, if you go into more networks. So also flight mode, tethering, and your VPN is available in there. NFC and S-Beam, which are one in the same thing really. They both use the near field communication. With the S-Beam it also uses the Wi-Fi, and you can quickly flick those on or off as you need to. You can also access those through the quick shortcuts up at the top here as well if you need to, but the option is there within the primary settings. You also have the screen mirroring, device nearby, and keys via Wi-Fi. Again, all of this is connection related to you connecting to the device or having other devices connecting to it. In My Device, it's very much about personalization, creating your custom lock screen, tweaking your display settings if you'd like to, notification panels, multiple window brightness, your auto rotation, fonts and everything like that. That's not to say that Samsung haven't still crammed in an awful lot of settings, but at least things are now a little bit better laid out and a bit more logical. Your LED indicator can be changed there or turned off completely if you'd like to. Home screen and sound mode. The home screen mode is if you want to switch it into easy mode. Why would you want to do that? And sound is where you can set up things like your ringtone, vibration patterns, dial pads, and more importantly, if it's annoying you, turn off that touch sound. So you know that weird water droplet sound that you get every time you touch anything, bloop, bloop, bloop. There is where you can turn it off. If you want rid of that, that's where you get rid of it. I would strongly urge you to turn it off if you value your sanity. You can also change your call quality settings, your call settings in here, including how you reject, whether it should automatically answer and end calls, your alarms and everything like that, and the ringtones that will appear in there as well. A lot of options here to look at, but you know, it's what we expect from Samsung. You've got the blocking mode, which will allow you to simply block calls or notifications. And a new feature, which I don't recall seeing on the previous Galaxy S models, is Safety Assistant. And effectively, in an emergency, the device can automatically do some stuff for you. So for instance, it can display your emergency contacts, send an emergency picture, send messages, etc. Very useful if you happen to be out and about, if you're a walker or anything like that. You have an extra safety feature there that can keep you safe and alert people should there be a problem. The power saving mode is obviously very useful on any smartphone. Allows you to drop down various settings on the phone to a lower power mode. So for instance, restrict the amount of CPU you'll be using, put the screen into low power and turn off the haptic feedback, which, you know, all of these things drain the power. If you drop those into lower mode, you may get a couple more hours worth of use out of your device. Accessibility and accessories, those are there. If you've got accessories, things like your dock, those options are available in there. And for accessibility, you have all of those accessibility features to make it easy if you have a particular problem using a device. So things like magnification is available in there, adjusting the colours, everything you could possibly need if you need the accessibility features in that particular section. Your keyboard controls are in language and input. Now, I've installed SwiftKey. I remember at the announcement initially they were saying that SwiftKey or Swipe was actually going to be coming with the Samsung phones. I can't find it anywhere, so I've installed mine off the Play Store. And in there you've also got your text-to-speech options as well, voice typing and everything like that. Motion and gestures, this is where we get into more of Samsung's kind of added extra features. These allow you to interact with the device without actually physically having to touch the screen necessarily. You can make a gesture, for instance flicking the wrist, swiping across the screen with your hand will allow the device to recognise those actions and do whatever it's been designed to do. Normally moving between panels and things like that. And you can just flick those on very, very easily. With the air gestures, you've then got even more options there for which air gestures you would like to use. Bearing in mind that all of these features do run your battery down because it's constantly having to use things like the camera. to judge whether your hand has moved across the screen or not. You have your voice control down at the bottom here. This is very much the S-voice kind of stuff. I have mine turned off because it just annoys the heck out of me. If you come into accounts, now at very least accounts aren't buried under another submenu as such. You can come into the accounts section, see all of your accounts listed, add a new account, or trigger up backup and reset. In here is where your factory data reset is. If you need to wipe everything on your device and start again, this is where you can do it. And you can also set your backups as well in there if you need to. The cloud options allow you to save various features of the phone, so your settings and so on, and store those straight up to Samsung's cloud, and then obviously restore them again later if you need to, say for instance if you've done a wipe or a reset. The account section is very much the muchness. There's nothing really new here as such, other than what a particular application might install for you. But you've got your Samsung accounts as standard, chat on, Dropbox, and Google. Email, LDAP if you're network orientated, and the Microsoft Exchange, and custom servers there as well. If you've installed Facebook, you'll also get the Facebook accounts there. In more, finally, in more, we get just down to the stuff they couldn't think of anywhere else that it could kind of go. So you've got your location services in here. So do you want your GPS or Wi-Fi location being reported and available for applications? In security, you've got encrypting your device, encrypting the external SD card. Really nice to see those encryption options there. Remote control, SIM change alerts. You can SIM card lock in there as well. Verifying your apps. Now this is an interesting one. Google in Android 4.2, I think, introduced a new feature which would analyze applications you were installing and make sure that they weren't dodgy in any way, weren't stealing data or anything like that. Turning that on and using the unknown sources allows you to sideload an application but still check it against Google's good list, as it were, to make sure there's nothing bad going on. Very useful if you're like me and you take a lot of apps in from developers for reviewing and so on that aren't actually available through the Play Store yet. Just helps us keep our devices safe. Trusted credentials, again, that tends to come into play with things like Exchange Server if you're a business user and have to talk to Exchange. The application manager is very similar to the application manager of old, shows you everything you've got installed on the device and lets you uninstall it as long as it's not one of the stock applications or preloaded applications, as it were. So if you want to uninstall something, go into there, hit your uninstall button. You can also clear down your data, clear your cache data, or force the application into a stop. Those sort of things can come in handy, as my wife discovered the other day with Facebook playing up. Clearing the cache on the Facebook app solved her problems. You can also see what applications you currently have running and using up processes. Again, this will list absolutely everything that's available, including the stuff that is stock and running in the background that's required to actually run the phone itself. So don't be surprised if you do see quite a lot of odd things in there, like filter installer and factory mode and Qualcomm Coryllimus. These are all part of the Android operating system. Don't turn them off now. And then if you go all the way to all, you can see absolutely everything, for those people that love to scroll. So if we come back out of there and go into battery, again, this battery app is very much the muchness we've seen many times previously. It allows us to see what our current charge is, how long the device is currently been running on battery, and which applications are currently drawing down on the battery. So you can see I've been playing Carmageddon there. My screen has been burning through 70% and my maps has been flicking on a little bit. In storage, we can see what is using what space and where, broken down by application types, pictures, video, audio, downloads, miscellaneous data, and then at the bottom what is available. So here we can see applications are currently taking up 5 gig of my storage space. I can click on applications and I can come into the application manager we just saw. Likewise, I can come into pictures and video and I can make changes there as well. All nice and easy. It does also show you your SD card down at the bottom as well if you have that installed, but it doesn't give you the breakdowns. In date and time, surprise, surprise, it allows you to change the date and time, as well as things like the automatic time zone, formatting, and when your daylight savings is likely to kick in as well. Developer options is only available if you've done a particular action on your handset which brings you into the developer mode. To do that, you come into About Device, you come down to your build number, and you type many times until you see a message pop up that says, type 1 more time, 2 more times, 3 more times, or what have you, and developer mode will be active. Once you have your developer mode, you've then got some things you can do. Usually this is pretty much just for developers, but there are a couple of interesting things in here. Check out the Windows animation scaling, transition animation and animator. If you drop these down to 0.5 or put them on off completely, you can actually find your device runs a little bit quicker. It's not actually running quicker, but you've actually reduced the amount of animation time for when you transition between various screens. By reducing that transition time, it makes things feel a little bit more fluid and snappy. I've never encountered an Android device yet that doesn't work just as well when you put it on off or 0.5 as having it on 1. It just adds to a little bit of snappiness of the device, which, you know, hey, we like snappiness, don't we? But those are the core Samsung Galaxy S4 settings. Lots and lots of options there for you to play with. Have a look and see what you can do with them.